I'll exit out. I'll try it again.
Okay. Yeah, if not, we can just do this.
Yeah, I'm getting the same message again. Sorry.
Okay, we'll just do it old school style. All right. Well, hey everyone, and welcome to our release kickoff for 16.2. My name is Justin Ferris. I'm not David DeSanto, but I am a product leader at GitLab, and I'm hosting today's kickoff. So I'm joined today by some of my favorite product leaders at GitLab, who will be covering their section. Unfortunately, Taylor McCaslin can't make it, but we will link the data science updates for 16.2 in the description, and y'all can follow along async there. But today I'm joined by Sam White, our group manager for Govern, who's covering the secure and govern areas of the product. Josh Lambert is joining us to cover enablement. Melissa Ushakov for the dev section, and then hey Melissa, and then Jackie Porter will cover CI and CD. We're focused on delivering value iteratively at GitLab, and we look at that through the lens of our fiscal year 24 product investment themes. So to remind you, if you've never watched this live stream before, our product investment themes for fiscal 24 are build a world-class DevSecOps experience that includes first-class usability, additional collaboration capabilities, and AI-assisted workflows. Second is provide advanced security and compliance, adding depth to our Ultimate by offering by bringing software supply chain security to the forefront of software development. Next, bring observability, analytics, and feedback into our DevSecOps platform, empowering organizations to close the SDLC loop with user data. And finally, GitLab for Data Science enables data scientists and data engineers into the DevSecOps platform, giving them the ability to benefit from all the value DevOps offers today, including collaboration, reproducibility, and streamlined deployment into production. So before I hand it off to Sam, I do have to share a public service announcement. So I'm just going to read it because I'm not good at saying it from memory. On this live stream, we will be discussing our product roadmap, which includes upcoming features and functionality. It's important to note that the information presented is for informational purposes only. Please do not rely on this information for purchasing or planning purposes. We plan ambitiously here at GitLab, and all the details discussed on this live stream are subject to change. The timing of any products, features, and functionality remain the sole discretion of GitLab. With that over, I will hand it off to Sam to kick us off.
Great, thanks, Justin. In the SEC section, we are focused on the advanced security and compliance theme. And within that, we have a few areas that we're working to cover to help make it easier to adopt and use GitLab. One of those areas is improving our abilities to manage security and compliance from a top-down perspective. To that end, we're building the dependency list that is already available at the project level and making that available at the group and subgroup levels. Our first iteration of this is planned to be released in 16.2 with additional enhancements coming afterwards. Also, our security policies can currently be managed at the group level, but we're working to add in some additional filters to make it more scalable and more manageable when you have a lot of different vulnerabilities to triage. Specifically, we're adding in these new filters, including filtering by age and filtering by things like attributes, so that you can only require approval when a vulnerability has exceeded a certain age, or if it's not a false positive, or if it does not have a fix available. Also, we're working to extend out those policies by adding some additional options here in terms of what branches can be selected. It's common for groups to not have every single project in the group have the exact same default branch name. And so instead of having to specify the name of all of the different default branches, we're working to add a new option to just select any default branches or any protected branches so that you can apply those policies by type, by branch type, instead of just by branch name. One of the other areas that we're working on within that advanced security and compliance theme is we're working to help stabilize the merge request security experience. To help with this, we're revamping the logic that we use to determine what vulnerabilities are identified as new versus newly detected. And we're expanding that out to look across all of the latest pipelines for each type of pipeline that has been run to get a better picture of what might be new versus newly or previously existing. And the reason for that is that sometimes you may only run a subset of scans in certain of these pipeline types, and that can cause conflicting results in the view today. So these new changes will apply to the logic that's evaluated for scan result policies so that you can more accurately apply those policies only to things that are new. Also, to help stabilize the merge request experience, we have some improvements related to SAST. We're working to add inline SAST findings where there'll be a marker there, and you'll be able to click on this right inline in the merge request and see the details about those SAST findings. Lastly, we're working to simplify security scanning. Part of this involves revamping the way container and dependency scanning is done. This has been a work in progress for several months, and it'll continue to be worked on in 16.2 with release planned for a future milestone. Our plan is to ingest the SBOM that's produced by container and dependency scanning, store that in the database along with our advisory database, and then continuously show you the latest vulnerability results. This means that as new advisories come in, we can update that list of vulnerabilities live without needing to go back and rerun another container or dependency scan. Additionally, we're working to improve the way that SAST vulnerabilities are tracked so that it can more easily track when the line moves across different code changes. And we're also working to expand advanced vulnerability tracking to support C#. Both of those improvements are currently planned to release in 16.2. Lastly, we've been working on making some changes to our VS Code extension to bring security scan results there natively inside of the extension. With that, I'll hand it over to Josh to cover enablement.
Thanks, Sam. Those are some exciting features. Looking forward to those, and of course 16.2 more broadly. Let me jump in and share my screen here for our enablement focus areas. So we are really excited about the work that we'll be highlighting here today, but know that it is not everything that is going into 16.2 by the team. So we do have planning issues and videos that are available on our YouTube page, playlist, and also linked here. So please do take a look at them if you'd like more information. And we can jump into the details and focusing on the world-class DevOps experience first. Some of these, for folks who have listened to prior kickoffs, will sound a bit familiar. We are working on some big items, but we'll go through them here and hit the highlights. The first one is for global search. We are working to improve our code search solution so that it provides complete results, in particular for partial or substring matches. So we want to make sure that when you put a certain string into GitLab search box for code, we give you the exact results you're looking for and not missing any, which is a current challenge we have today. So we're really looking forward to this, and we are working towards our opt-in beta and primarily focusing on support for private projects and all of the permissions and ensuring we turn the right results to the right users. So that work is happening now with the goal of supporting that opt-in beta here in the near future. Moving on to our application performance team, we are continuing our work on supporting code suggestions for our self-managed deployments and customers. So we actually have shipped in 16.1 initial support for this. And so customers will be able to utilize that, but we want to further improve this in the next iteration for, in particular, improving how we handle or removing the need to provide a GitLab.com account at the administrative level. And so looking forward to this one to help improve and streamline the setup process for this important feature. Next, move up, and here's the more detailed issue on actually just that. On bringing in that particular or streamlining this and removing the need for having that one singular GitLab.com account. Moving on over to our Geo team, we are continuing our work on silent mode. The value of this feature is that we want to be able to provide users with a way to easily and without disruption test their backups and or test their failovers to a secondary Geo instance. So you can do maintenance mode today, which prevents writes. But we're having silent mode such that we essentially silence or prevent any outbound emails, outbound webhooks, mirroring from occurring, and other actions. And this way, you don't have duplicate notifications, and you feel comfortable that you're not going to be triggering any downstream services, for example, as well, when you're testing your backup, for example. So looking forward to bringing this to our customers. We are also overall working to improve our documentation for our self-managed customers as well on backup and restore, in particular for our cloud-native hybrid customers, and making sure we can provide good documentation for leveraging, in particular, our incremental backup feature in that hybrid environment. And this way we can have high confidence, highly recommended backup processes for all of our deployment types. Moving over to our tenant scale team, we are working to deliver on the organization prototype. Organization provides a stronger isolation boundary for tenants on our GitLab.com and our SaaS services, and also provides a way to unify more of our workflows across both self-managed and SaaS. And so we are working to now do further into implementation now that we have a pretty crisp blueprint and idea of what we want to go ahead and do. So looking forward to that progress, as you can see here, with the implementation largely beginning now. Similarly, the team is also working on bringing these cells, which allow us additional scalability to essentially have multiple small deployments of GitLab work together as a larger one. And we have the first iteration of allowing users to create a project, and now we're working to actually allow users to create a group on that second cell as well. And so I'm making some progress here and continue progress towards that larger horizontal scalability goal for our services. Moving over to the GitLab team, we are continuing our work to provide write-ahead logging. The goal here is to provide methods to reduce the restore point objective, or the time in which, if you have to restore from a backup, that you have to roll back to. And so instead of having periodic snapshots, for example, in the file system or backups, you actually can get that streaming write-ahead log of all the changes happening to really kind of shorten that restore point and potentially have less data loss if you have to do a restore. Similarly, working to drive further storage improvements and as far as efficiency by better handling object pools, which are the common storage area, if you will, for any kind of forks. And so we can do deduplication and help to reduce the amount of storage needed to power these forked workflows. Moving on towards our database team, we are continuing our work on partitioning and table ownership. We have some very large tables, and working on these tables costs a lot of CPU and takes some time. And so we want to go ahead and trim these down and utilize partitioning to overall shrink the size of tables, make it more efficient to actually get queries, and improve the overall scalability and responsiveness of our platform. And so the team is continuing on this objective and partitioning more and more of our tables. And certainly we're working to wrap up the migration to larger primary keys to ensure that even the largest of GitLab instances have enough headroom to run for a very, very, very long time before they ever have to worry about exhausting these primary keys. And so again, that additional headroom, we are working to wrap up the last few tables here and the next milestone or two. And the final operator, which is our kind of more day two operation capable method of deploying GitLab on cloud native, which also supports the OpenShift environment. And so right now we don't recommend this broadly for production use, and we want to go ahead and implement these particular changes to make sure that we have that broad coverage and recommendation that we can make to our customers for using this in a number of different environments. So with that, that is our work we are doing for enablement. And I'll pass things over to Melissa to carry things on and tell us all about the amazing things in dev.
Thank you. I'm super excited to see organizations work happen. Super exciting. All right. Hi, y'all. I'm Melissa. I'm covering the dev section, which is comprised of manage, plan, and create. And we've got some great improvements across our themes of world-class DevSecOps experience, advanced security and compliance, and observability. So I'll start with world-class DevSecOps experience. What you'll notice is that we're rolling out some enhancements to UX based on your feedback on research and various dogfooding initiatives. So the first one being some improvements around code owners. So we've heard feedback that this feature is very useful, but it can be a little bit difficult to understand and maintain. So there's some changes coming in, basically showing you syntax validation and common errors. You see here, for example, will tell you when there's entries with no owners, 0 owners, inaccessible owners, different ways to surface those errors ahead of time. and make it easier to know what's going on with your code owners file. Similarly, we're bringing more clarity to when you compare branches. And the reason I love this particular change is that there's actually no functional changes, but just better layout of different elements on the screen, linking to documentation, just make it a lot easier to know what's going on when you're comparing different branches. So this is what it will look like after 16.2. Most of you have seen the new nav if you've upgraded to one of the recent versions, or if you're using SaaS. And one of the pieces of feedback that we got was around switching context. So switching from your work to a different group or a different project. The way that was presented in the nav wasn't intuitive to a lot of users. So we're rolling out an enhancement, and it actually brings search and switch closer together, which is a huge advantage. So you can see here that within the search interface, we're combining this to be search or jump to. So you can either go to a different group or project, go to your work, or search for something. It's really exciting to be bringing two parts of the experience closer together. And as we prepare, I've been talking about in the kickoffs about work items, and that being our new foundational framework for how we do planning and present planning objects in GitLab. As we're preparing for adoption of that framework from issues and epics, we wanted to bring the experience that's available now of work items closer to what's in issues and epics. So we're switching our UI to be a 2-column layout, similar to what you see in issues, but with a little bit of a cleaner interface. So this is what it will look like. It feels familiar to issues, but it's a little bit cleaner. We're moving data elements around to use the space more efficiently, and basically taking the best of both worlds of what's available in tasks today and what's available in issues and epics. The first place you'll see this presented will be in tasks. So if you're using tasks, they'll start to have a 2-column layout. And later this year, we'll be migrating issues and epics to this new experience. I'm now going to move on to our advanced security and compliance theme, starting with something really exciting, which is customizable roles will now have a UI. If you've been following along on kickoff calls, or if you've used this feature, it's available now in the API, but we're going to have a UI for it, and it'll look a little bit like this, where you're able to go through all the different permissions and check or uncheck different boxes to create a custom role. And similar to what Sam was mentioning on his kickoff call, we as GitLab want to bring more capabilities up to the group level so that administrator can manage settings, especially when it relates to security across multiple projects. So we're bringing the ability to create a custom role to the group level. And lastly, in our theme of observability, analytics, and feedback, the value stream dashboard will continue to iterate on that new feature. If you haven't seen it, you should definitely check it out. This dashboard presents you an overview of different metrics over time across groups and projects. And one ability that we're adding is to filter by label. This is something we heard loud and clear during our dog fooding and during beta. And the reason that's particularly exciting for us at GitLab is that we use labels to denote different teams. So now you'll be able, so if you do that yourself as well, you'll be able to see these metrics divided up by team, or if you only want to see these metrics for your critical security issues, you can slice and dice the data in a more flexible way. A couple of other enhancements that are coming to the value stream dashboard is adding issue close rates. So this will give you an idea of high-level throughput. Today we have new issues, but we don't have closed issues. So now you'll be able to see that side by side. And we're also improving our issue analytics report by adding the same level of information. So that's it for the dev section. I'll now hand it off to Jackie.
Thank you so much, Melissa. Wow, your team is working on a whole bunch of really cool stuff. I'll be excited to see some of that customizable roles work. All right, diving on in. My name is Jackie Porter. I'm the product director over the CI section, formerly known as Verify and Package. And I'll be kicking off 16.2 for the CI/CD sections. As a reminder, these sections are all about the experiences for a developer effectively leveraging configuration and operations tasks in GitLab. And it's composed of the verify stage, package stage, and deploy stages. We have a bunch of super investments coming out in 16.2. And as a blanket statement, this is definitely not the only things that we're working on. So please take a minute to dive over to our direction pages and check everything out. The core thing that we'll be working on in 16.2 is world-class DevSecOps experience. And from our runner group, some valuable things that our team is really working on is related to a new runner details page. Some customers are creating multiple runners with the same configuration parameters. And with this new interface, runners will be registered with the same authentication token, sharing configuration, and are grouped in the new detailed view. This will reduce the administrative overhead and introduce new options for how administrators can approach runner fleet configuration. Next up in this world-class DevSecOps is this idea of our CI catalog and a foundational requirement related to inputs. So the component catalog requires shareable, reusable component foundation. And in this release, we'll be focusing on improving the inputs interpolation. So there is a single source of truth for reusing and sharing those components within our infrastructure for the catalog. Next up, we are super motivated to move macOS M1 SaaS runners to general availability. There's a few items that we're trying to take care of in 16.2 to make this possible. We'll be working on updating the strategy for macOS images and also improving the efficiency by which images are pulled and copied, empowering people to easily use and develop using macOS M1 runners. Also from the SaaS runner side, a big important value for people who are building on GitLab SaaS runners and really building on GitLab CI in general is to further drive efficiency of their teams. And in order to do this, we want to make sure that we are offering a wide variety of machine types to empower people to do that. So 16.2, we're looking at adding an extra large machine type on Linux that will hopefully drive some efficiency for our users. Over in our package group, we'll be supporting a best-in-class NuGet package management system. First up was thinking about how we're going to support V2 of NuGet, which is about really empowering developers to contribute using this package manager format. Today, we don't support this version, so we're going to be empowering that in 16.2. And then another thing that we're working on related to this package format is adding a setting that will disallow duplicate package uploads. So both of these will help enable deeper NuGet usage as a package format in GitLab. Last up from our pipeline execution group in the verify stage, we're continuing to deliver the fast forward merge trains for semi-linear history. This first issue here is about supporting the MRF being created with rebase so that there's an automatic rebase action whenever this merge method is used. This is a standard merge method that users have in GitLab, and today we don't offer merge trains for it. So being able to leverage merge trains with fast forward semi-linear history will be a game changer for some of our customers. That wraps up all of our work over in the CI/CD sections, and I'll pass it back to Justin.
Awesome. Thanks, Jackie. Y'all are super excited about the work you're doing and everyone else is doing. I'm equally excited. This is going to be the best release yet. So I'd like to highlight everything, but I don't think I have the time to do so. So I'm going to highlight a couple of things. And actually worth noting, I was in Atlanta last week for the first instance of our DevSecOps World Tour. And what's funny is that I talked to a lot of customers there, and almost every customer asked about one of the things we're working on this release. So good on us for listening to our customers, and thanks to all the customers that regularly share feedback. Small plug, if you look at the DevSecOps World Tour page on our marketing site and we're coming near you, love to meet you. I'll be at many of them as well as many of the rest of the product leadership team. Okay, so a couple of highlights. First off, work item usability improvements. I'm really excited about that. We've made a ton of progress over the past several milestones on improving work items. Search or jump to, I'm a big command space user on my Mac. If I don't have to touch the mouse, I'm having a good day. And so I'm excited that improved functionality will come to GitLab. Custom roles UI, this is one that a lot of customers have been asking for, so I'm excited to see us continue to make progress there. Partial or substring matches in global search, that's huge. I'm going to use that a lot. Streamlining account management for GitLab Plus. I'm excited to see how quickly we're iterating on GitLab Plus. So it's great to see more improvements there. Organization prototype and cells. This has been a huge effort, and it's awesome to see progress, milestone over milestone. New runner detail page. That's going to help out a lot of customers, and I heard some feedback about that last week. And then continue to expand our compute offerings with M1 and XL machine types. We really are providing all the options that our customers need to run their applications, which is great. So that's inside a world-class DevSecOps experience. For advanced security and compliance, customizable roles at the group level. I already talked about that. Group and subgroup dependency list, additional filters in scan result policies. Sam and I were actually on a call with a customer on Friday, and they asked about this. So awesome to see that we'll deliver that in 16.2. Improved accuracy and comparison logic for determining newly detected vulnerabilities. Starting to show SAST findings inline in the MR. So everything we can do to move security left and make it easier for an engineer developer to find a vulnerability is a huge improvement. So great to see those. And then progress towards continuous vulnerability scans. I'm really excited about that one. All right, on to observability, analytics, and feedback. Another thing that came up from customers last week, filter by labels on value streams dashboards. Really great improvement. And then more metrics inside of value stream dashboards are always a good thing. And then Taylor wasn't here to talk about the details, but I'm going to pull up a couple highlights just to give himself a little bit of, give the data science team a little bit of love. So one of the big things they're working on right now, and we'll continue to work on in 16.2, is improved quality of code suggestions. That feature is currently in beta and available to all users on gitlab.com. And they're working very hard every week. It seems like the quality of that is improving. So that's a big focus area. And then the second one I'm going to highlight is adding more support for additional IDEs. So continuing to iterate there and continuing to extend support to JetBrains, to Vim, and improving our VS Code extension and Visual Studio. So those are kind of the two big ones, but we'll share Taylor's details on the 16.2 page, and you can read more there. All right. Thanks again, everyone. Thanks to all of the product leaders that presented. I was only able to touch on a small portion of what we're doing to make GitLab more usable, but I will say with confidence that this is the best release yet, or will be the best release yet of GitLab. So thanks everyone for watching. Have a great rest of your day.